Leisure needs to bring some form of pleasure.
And I spent hours imagining stories that I was Indiana Jones and
So there's an Italian word called dolce far niente, right? Which is the sweetness of doing nothing.
I would go on stage and sing a song, and then when people would tell me sing it again, I'll be like, I don't know. That's right. All right, girls. Judging by my props. How about leisure?
Nice.
Also, can I do the entire podcast with these sunglasses?
No.
We can't see
We
your
wanna
eyes.
see your eyes.
All right. Back to bright light. Less leisure, but okay. I think, Emma, you had a very nice start to how about leisure?
Yeah, so, it was so weird. Last night, I was talking to my older daughter, and she was very excited about this whole podcast thing and all of that. She's like, what are you going to talk about? What are the topics? I told her leisure, and she started laughing outright, and she's like, you are going to talk about leisure. You realize you don't understand the meaning of leisure, right? And I was just horrified because I thought I was a fairly chilled out person. Apparently, I'm not. So I think
That's
that's a good segue into today's topic.
So if she says that you don't know leisure, let's start with how do you define leisure?
So for me, leisure is any time that I can just sit and not think about anything and just be who I am, not have to be doing something. For me, that's leisure, right? Just not doing anything. Not even in a hobby sense of the word, not even like shopping, not activity based. So in my head, leisure is just complete shutting down almost of conscious behavior. And unfortunately, I don't know how much of that I'm currently successful with, but hey, that's for later.
So is sleeping leisure?
Sleeping is kind of pleasure and leisure. No, actually, for me, sleeping is sometimes shutting down currently for me. It's not, it used to be leisure, but for me now I equate it with shutting down.
So leisure is like sleep mode.
Yeah, sort of sleep mode without, I think, without feeling guilt about it. I think that's leisure. Because if I feel like I'm sleeping other than to shut down, it's not a good thing.
Oh shit, your sleep also has a task.
Terrible. Yeah.
No wonder your daughter said what she said. All right, I think we should stop the negativity right there. Srishti, let's talk about how do you define leisure?
So there's an Italian word called dolce far niente, right? Which is the sweetness of doing nothing. And that's what it literally kind of translates to. And for me, that's leisure. Like not having an agenda. Now that could mean taking a nap, that could mean going out, that could mean having a nice meal, that could often mean cooking. It could mean like work to like how you would define it. But because it was unplanned, or something that you didn't necessarily be like, okay, this is a task that I need to finish. That is leisure, right? So that idea of like agenda-less, like a couple of years back in this book, I had come across this idea of something called studio time, where for any creative professional, they were talking about how if you block 1 hour of your time every day, where you just show up, you don't plan what you're going to do in that time, and in that moment, what do you feel like doing, you do that. And I like experimented with this for a bit, and it was great. So that 1 hour was almost like a leisure, because I didn't plan what I was going to do in that time. And I feel like the type of person I am, it takes effort to be able to do that.
Nice.
What about you?
So for me, leisure needs to bring some form of pleasure. That's what I have understood so far. And given that I am a knowledge worker, anything that does not require me to think, that allows me to have leisure. So it can be an activity unlike yours. For example, a vigorous activity like working out. If there is a trainer who is telling me what to do, it becomes leisure for me because I don't have to use my brains. They say do, I do, I'm done. I feel, yeah, got it. Or if I have to sit down, relax, watch TV, then it will be something lighthearted. It can't be a heavy serial because then it's not leisure for me. So, in fact, nowadays I was just thinking we were planning a trip to go abroad, and I'm like, this does not feel like leisure because I have to plan it. I have to figure out where to go. I have to apply for visa. I have to do this, that. Doesn't feel like leisure. Leisure would be just like sitting around with friends. So I think this agendalessness, this unplannedness, the lack of responsibility, the lack of guilt, the lack of level one, level two, level three to this, all of those things sort of constitute leisure. The ability to just lay back and, look at plants or look at trees and not really, uh, you know, try to wipe that leaf and say ganda ho gaya hai, saaf karna hai. I think that is what I would call leisure, which is very hard for me to do on a day-to-day basis, um, because sometimes you feel like, leisure also seems like you're allowing yourself to be lazy. And even though there are so many studies that say that, if you are now we are all realize that sleep is so important, that 8 hours of sleep is so important for your brain to process everything, for the workout that you're doing to have an impact on your body, for your organs to work perfectly. So when there's scientific evidence that really slowing down in life and stopping yourself and taking proper scheduled breaks is so important, we still hold ourselves back from allowing leisure and from allowing this joyful, abandon, you know. I think it's still a struggle to allow myself to have leisure in that sense.
I'm curious to hear, like, does leisure feel like a right or a reward?
So I don't think I've actually thought of it like that. And I think I was not always this way. So I spent most of my childhood as a dreamer. And I could just like sit for hours making up stories in my brain, randomly reading books, forgetting for hours on end that, that work needed to be done. I've constantly skipped out homework to do everything else. So I think leisure, I don't think of leisure as a right or a reward or any such thing. I feel like it's a part of me. As in, I've spent countless hours. I was not always this sort of structured or whatever it is that people seem to think I am. I'm not admitting that I am. But, I've always thought of it as something that just is part of my psyche to have shut down. I've spent my childhood just reading for hours, staring into space, literally out of a window in my house in Mumbai. We had this guava tree outside my bedroom, and tiny house, tiny complex, whatever. And I spent hours imagining stories that I was Indiana Jones and, like ridiculous things, right? So leisure was a very sort of built in, is still a built in part of my life. I think if I thought about it as a reward or something like that, maybe I would have been more mindful about putting it into my life on a day-to-day basis. But because it was all just part of who I was, I feel like I may have lost sight of it briefly through whatever, life and living, as it were. But yeah, I think it's fundamental right. So
it's right. It's
Not
right.
reward.
Yeah. Do you feel you need to earn leisure?
So, I really like what you said because that was me. I was a full on daydreamer, only child. I have nobody to talk to. Parents are gone to work. The next best thing is sit. And my mom used to tell me I used to sit hours at the window and sing songs. And these were not songs that like Bollywood songs or something. I was making up songs.
yeah. My life was almost entirely in my head. right?
I was singing songs, I was making up songs. I would go on stage and sing a song. And then when people would tell me sing it again, I'll be like, I don't know what I sang. So I'm such a dreamer. But I think as you go through school and you sit in class and you're like this, and the teacher will be like, hey, what are you daydreaming? So daydreaming became such a negative thing. Daydreaming became escapism, it became laziness, it became you can't pay attention in class, that you started focusing, like it became important to focus and be on task and let go of this side of you that can't focus. And therefore, I had to stop myself from daydreaming. But it's funny because even now, I try not to get onto my phone if I'm sitting at a new place or anything. And or I think yesterday only my parlor lady was asking me, "Madam, आप bore हो गए क्या?" When she was, and I'm like, मैं बोर नहीं होती because there's always
Something else
I'm
in
always
my
having
head.
some
Yeah.
fun in my head. I'm concocting something. I'm thinking of a scenario. I'm chilling in my mind. But so daydreaming, luckily, I haven't let gone of that, and that's still a joyful thing that I keep with myself. But given that those productivity hacks where you give yourself a reward after you achieve something, those were things I learned in the latter part of school and in my early 20s, is that okay, if I finish this task, then I'll allow myself 30 minutes of TV time. If I finish this task, then I'll allow myself 20 minutes of talking to my friend. And we started gamifying all of this, and it moved into reward rather than the right or the naturalness of it just being a part of me. Yeah. So
And that's why I haven't been able to do that. That slotting in of time, I feel it becomes like a structured part of another task list. Like I have to then stop,
Plan leisure.
plan leisure. And I was like, it's one more thing that I have to plan. I can't do that.
but I do that. I actually schedule leisure now. And I've had a journey with it, but I think we'll get into the journey part of it. I'll let you speak about what you think about right or reward.
Yeah, I feel like I think it's more a reward. And I know there's something very problematic about that. Like I recognize that, but I don't like I feel like I've been a productivity junkie for for so long. And what you guys are talking about daydreaming is as a child, I was just trying to think if I did that ever, right? Like just not do anything. I don't remember. Like at least maybe I did, but at least that's not my. If I look back at my childhood, that's not the memory that I have. My memories are all of doing something, which was, and maybe that was still leisure for me. Like I really enjoyed what I did, but just sitting, I don't remember. I don't remember that. So I think it's still a complicated relationship where I feel like I need to earn leisure. And I do what she said, right? That I do schedule time because I do recognize that um it almost takes away from me showing up 100%. So I've it's almost I don't know I'm it's almost sounding like a productivity hack, but it's not that in my head at least. But yeah, I mean I don't think I don't look at it as a right necessarily, and I know that that's very problematic. I don't know how to change that. How do you
It's the scheduling, I feel, that allows you to change it from a reward to a right. Like, I remember, it's obviously, COVID changed a lot of things for us and made us question so many of these rules that we had put on ourselves. And so, when I was attending a workshop at the beginning of 22, and again, it was a mindfulness workshop and how we would want the year to start and all of that. And in that workshop, when we were meditating, the thing that I realized, and when she asked us to go back to our joyful memories of childhood, that's what came back to me, is that the ability to do nothing and not feel bad about it, just enjoy it. Even though in childhood you would hear that, you're being lazy. But when even the others told me I was being lazy, it brought me the max joy. So now I'm adult enough to realize that if I know that's what brings me joy, why am I seeking it in anything else? A night of drinking alcohol does not give me that joy that just lazing around brings me. So now I know what brings me happiness. And so she told, there was a very nice, like you're saying, productivity hack type thing, which she said, in your calendar, schedule nap time. It is part of what you have to do. So the guilt goes away and you have allowed yourself and made it a right. It's not even a reward. Whether you have finished work from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. doesn't matter. You have scheduled nap 2 to 3, it's nap 2 to 3. You scheduled sleep, you will sleep. So scheduling is what has helped actually change it from a reward to a right all over again for me.
I think for me, it's become more of a problem because I've been part of this hustle culture, whatever, right? And I drank that Kool Aid, right? So
I think we all did.
thinking that no, so as an adult I've now gone from my PTM in school, parent teacher meetings, my mom would come and my sixth standard teacher who I adored was like, we don't let her sit near the window because she looks outside and she's just out anytime, right? And that's true today. When I go and find a spot at work, I find a spot not near the window because my tendency is to just vanish in my head. And I thought that this blocks productivity, and it's a blocker to productivity. And I think what I'm trying to do now is to ask, how can I be productive while being this person, instead of changing this and becoming a miserable neurotic mess, right? And not having any sense of leisure or shutting down or whatever. The question I'm now trying to say is, this is my personality. My personality is the ability to weave stories, to dream things in my mind and have this whole space. So how do I find ways to make that productive? Is that even possible, right? It's hard.
How do I
It's
make
really
leisure
hard.
productive? Oh God.
Yeah, no, not productive like that. As in, if you want to remove guilt, right? Or about being that way, I want to have the freedom to make leisure still mine and still allow me that. And the only way I can do it is to not schedule leisure time, which I can't do. I can't say I will nap for 20 minutes at 3:30 because I will not be free at 3:30. I'll be doing something else at 3:30. I'll be on a trampoline at 3:30. I don't know, right?
Why don't you call us on these afternoons when you're on a trampoline at 3:30?
I wish. But the trampoline's in my bed. I don't consider the gym leisure. For me, that's not leisure because I'm there to do something. I'm there to kick ass at the gym. I'm there to knock the stuffing out of that bag, right? That's a job. But this is so intrinsic to my soul. It's my soul voice. And when I say I want that to be productive, I want to remove the guilt from it because feeling guilty about it has made my ex-work life, other than work life, very, very task-oriented and very joyless.
One very interesting thing, and I kind of resonate with one thing that you said. I feel like time boxing leisure is hard for me to say that it's only 1 hour and this is all you have. So this whole idea of like timelessness, for me, that is pleasure. Like, for example, if I'm going to a friend's house without the pressure of, oh, you know what, it's 10 p.m., I need to come back, I have a class in the morning. And if I'm thinking about that, then it's not leisure. But the minute I take that off from the plate where I'm like, I will come back whenever I feel like coming back, and there is no agenda or there's nothing to do once I am back. I feel like that kind of shifts. So what at least I've tried to do in the last couple of years is almost plan like weekends or whatever where there's nothing. There is no agenda. And there is nowhere to be. There is nothing to be done. No errands to run. Nothing. I will just show up. And I will see if that means that I vegetate in front of the TV the whole day, so be it. And if I feel like super productive and I end up doing something, that's great too. But I think that idea of like timelessness of it not being time bound,
Yeah.
for me, leisure like that is also extremely important.
Yeah, because I don't deal well with time bound stuff in
But
general.
it is time bound. Like it's just the weekend.
Yeah, but a weekend seems more than just 1 hour or, a couple of hours.
So, but that's why I have the luxury now, and that's what I'm guarding, that it doesn't have to be that way. How does leisure feel just integrated into life without guilt and some sort of elastic time boxing, right?
Elastic, I think that word is helpful. I mean, I'll allow that extra 30, 40 minutes. It's okay. Or extra 1, 2 hours. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
One more episode. It's okay. Kind of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it almost feels like we're asking for permission. But from who? I don't know.
No, I agree. Like you're constantly parenting yourself, right? Because your whole life you've heard you're being lazy, you're wasting your time, you're wasting. I've heard that my entire life that I am wasting my time, that I am so smart, I am so this, and I'm wasting my time. And then I believed it, and then I also felt it because I saw other people, using their summer vacations to go for like some camps and some classes, and they would come back and they would have done swimming and we could not afford those things. So my summer vacation was sitting at home watching TV. And that ended up, I learned a lot, which I realized much later that I had got a lot of education from television. But what happened in my early 20s when I started working and the internet boom happened, in 2007, 2008, you went to office and there was internet. You're like, wow, I can see anything and everything. And so all the lost time that I had in school, summer vacations and, all of that, I tried to make up for it in my early 20s. So pleasure, like for example, watching videos and enjoying. It couldn't be like, it was not fail videos or like cute baby videos. It had to be a TED talk. I had to learn something from it. If I was chilling with friends, it was not about making fun of each other. It was about like, it would be nice to like discuss something, to talk about something, to learn about sitting and having lunch and we're talking existentialism or we're talking something related to work. And so my early 20s became this frenzy of productivity where at any point in time, if I'm watching a film, it had to be a serious film, no slapstick comedy, no rom-com, no traditional romance, nothing to just feel nice about, no escape. It's like you have to get intense and learn about something or learn about an era, or it should have some historical value, or it must have some life lesson. Constantly trying to extract things from activities that should have just been done for fun. Like even going into an art gallery and just enjoying the pleasure of watching things. No, what will that painting mean? Am I getting it or not? Am I smart enough? Or it just really, I think I overdid it in my 20s, trying to make every activity about productivity and learning, and really trying to gain a lot of my identity and smarts and everything from every time that I had. That I think by the time I reached like mid 30s, is when it really, like a good 15 years that I let it happen to me. And I did this to myself to try to catch up on time. And only during, I think 22, during that thing is when I realized, oh my God, I really need to have some loose time, which is agendaless. And then I created this friends group called Tuesday Loose Day, where we would meet on Tuesdays, and it was in our building. And it's just a bunch of friends. Nobody has to host anybody. Nobody has to do anything. Nobody has to order food. We just meet, we hang out. There's no agenda. It's just a fun time. But again, I had to schedule it. I had to call it Tuesday Loose Day so that I allow myself to be agendaless on that day. So that's not gone away. But this hyper productivity part of it, I have eased into it now. And I let myself do the work, show up for whatever 6 to 8 hours of work. And after that, just shut down the laptop and say, itna hi ho pa raha hai. Anything more I do will be counterproductive. What will take me 1 hour when I'm productive will take me 4 hours now. I might as well just relax, refuel, and come back. But that's been quite a learning journey because it came at the cost of mental health and big time. It's something I had to discuss with my therapist. That's also quite a story
Wow.
of what I had to discuss with the therapist. But yeah, please.
Yeah, so I think for me, the idea of um, doing nothing is something I'm trying to stay with, right? Even if it's in small chunks, I'm learning to appreciate just even on vacation, just sitting. I'm not eating, I'm not drinking, I'm not talking. I am just watching the waves roll in and roll out. And my brain can just be empty.
It's like
And
being
that's what I
high.
want to do. Yeah, I want to be high
Sober
on
high.
doing nothing, And yeah, that's my idea. That's my ideal of leisure.
But it's hard.
Very, very hard. Very hard.
And people think you're a psycho.
Yeah.
The other day, I was waiting for Emma at this bar, and I was waiting. Like she was taking her own sweet time to come because of typical Friday traffic that you have, and I came by metro happily. And I was like, I will not open my phone. And I'm sitting there at the bar, the only person on a table for two, and there are groups and groups of people around me. And even the waiters don't know how to
Deal with it.
deal with it because they're like, should we make eye contact with this customer? Should we? They're not even greeting me. They're just like, who's this weird person looking around? And I'm just like, since when did this happen? That if you're not on your phone, you're a psycho. And that I think there's a sketch on this also where someone's like, I think this person is sitting on the phone. It's not even looking at their own phone. They're not reading a book. They're not on the laptop.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there. And I was like, no, but I will go through this. I will just be a non-screen, relaxed person. And I feel if I have to visualize what leisure is, it's literally like detangling of the mind, like not feeding any input, just letting the mind unwind and, decompress and allow that. I think that's how I would define leisure at the cost of looking like a psycho.
Yeah. I sometimes also don't know if, it's a woman thing versus a man thing to not be able to unplug. At least over time. I think we all, of course, start off the same. But I feel that over time, I don't know, what do you think, Srishi?
There is a quote that says, I have never seen a relaxed woman, right? Which I kind of resonate with a lot. Like, I think my family, which has been a big influence in the way that I look at the world, has a lot of women, a lot of really powerful, women. But relaxed is not a word I would use for most of them, like 99%, maybe one or two. In some instances, but that's not a word I would use. And I think that affects how we look at leisure also to a large degree, like the way people around you look
the
at
models
leisure.
that you have around.
Yeah, like for example, I think, and this has become more in the last couple of years, like when me and my sister go on vacation with our parents, they are like up at 6, gone for a walk, done with breakfast by the time we're just waking up, right? And for them, that is what they want to do on a vacation. And for us, leisure means not having that pressure of getting up in the morning at a certain point of time. And I think it's also kind of strange to see our ideas of vacation have evolved into very different things, right? Where it's like, I don't want to plan. I'm okay to just sit at a really nice, beautiful place and just be. Or so I think this whole idea of like people around you, especially for women, like how do women behave? I think that does influence the way that we act and the way we look at leisure. I don't know if that's the same for you guys in terms of what you've seen growing up.
I think growing up is a whole different ball game, right? I think your uncles and dads can just sit back and say, "हाँ, चाय लेके आओ." कौन लेके आ रहा है वो चाय? That's
Yeah.
the women in the house are going inside making that chai and bringing it. The woman is not going to sit back and say, "हाँ, चाय लेके आओ," and it is not going to like prakat नहीं होने वाला चाय. If a woman wants to have tea, she has to get up, go make that tea and have it. So in that sense, it's very different. Even if so, growing up, definitely you don't see. If you go to your cousin's house for holiday, the you might see uncles reading paper and chilling, and tea, coffee, snacks coming into them, but you will not see any auntie or your mom opening the book and sitting and chilling and reading. She is preparing meals. She is taking care of the house. She's doing stuff. So, as a whether you're working, whether you're a homemaker only, and whether you do both, uh, I don't think we've seen models of women just relaxing and being themselves or going for a trip. Like if a woman had to go to her mother's house, it was you had to ask permission, and everybody had to be okay, and the house would be in chaos and all of those things, right? Because it's a full-time job running a household. And I think we feel that now. We feel the brunt of that now because we are also working full time, and at the same time we are running the household. Tell me to go on a trip, fabulous, I'll come. And I tell my husband, please plan the trip because I really don't want to. Still, I will end up getting involved, figuring out, helping out with the place, picking the place, all of those things. But by the time we are ready to come back home, I already have to plan, what do we figure out for dinner? I have to order groceries. I have to do this. I have to do that. That starts in the head on the way back home while the wheels are still running. Yeah. So there is no full set of like, this is done kind of thing. I think the only time when women were allowed to even enjoy that was when they would go back to their parents' house for some time. But I think after marriage and being in your own house, it's not that easy. It's changing now as we are taking on our own space, our own roles. The husbands are living up to a lot of things. The partners that we have in our life, male, female, whatever, the partners that we have in our life are living up to that as well. And, we are giving each other that time. Like there will be days when my husband feels super productive and he's going to clean the house. And I'll be like, I'm just not feeling it. I want to chill. I want to relax. And we're like, that's fine. And then there will be days that I feel super productive and I want to clean up the house. And he's like, today I can't. So he'll be chilling. We allow each other to do that. But I don't think I have a reference point. I think
that makes it really hard to not have that. And I'll also go ahead and like, I almost feel like there is a certain judgment that comes, which at least I have heard, when there is a woman that is enjoying and being leisurely. It's almost like
laughing loudly.
Yeah. But like even like somebody, like a woman getting up late is looked down upon in, even if that person has nothing to do, right? Or like does not have responsibilities, or if somebody else is taking up that responsibilities, but that is not met with as much openness. It actually like
judgment.
There is judgment there, which is that, hey, how can she do that? This is not.
Even if she worked till 2 a.m., it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's a house. She must wake up on time and do stuff, especially if there are
I'm just going to do a little bit of devil's advocate over here, right? I'm just going to play that role because one is, yes, we've not maybe traditionally had reference points in the past of women who are willing to take leisure on as a right. We've not necessarily been brought up that way. But I also feel like as we've evolved, we are now, at least a lot of us are equal partners, people who are willing to share in partnerships. My sense of it is sometimes I feel as women, we don't allow ourselves to disconnect as much as men are willing to do it. And I think that is something, it needs to be a learned behavior almost, because I feel like guys will say, hey, I want to go and play cricket. Sabji nahi hai, theek hai. There's no, cooking is not done. It's okay. I will tell my cook. No, maybe not tell the wife, but if they are alone or even if the wife is there, they will be willing to say, I'll call the cook on the phone and say, you do whatever you want, right? We're not like that. We want it to be also in a certain way that we want it to happen. And we, in some sense, I feel like it's time to own up, to fess up that maybe half the problem is us.
Yeah, we need to let go.
We need to let go. We don't do that.
Yeah.
कूट के भी तो डाला है ना हमारे मन में.
हाँ, वो ठीक है, मगर unravel to karna padega at some point, right?
I'll give you a very interesting example that a friend of mine was telling me. She lives abroad, and with her husband, and it's like obviously help is not easy to find, right? And like it took her, she got married like and moved in for the first time with her husband, and realized that there is this unsaid expectation of like
You do
roles
this, I do
being
that, huh?
not there, because it's just something that he's not grown up doing at his own house, right? Which is, whatever it is, right? So as progressive as he might be, there are certain things that he expects like would happen in a certain way or would be
सोचा
done.
ही नहीं उसके बाद
हाँ,
में, it
नहीं
was
सोचा.
taken for granted.
Yeah, exactly, right? And this friend of mine, like they did some division of responsibilities and whatever. And first few months, she would actually pitch in and do his tasks if they were not done, right? Like taking out the trash, for example. If he forgot to take it out one day, she would do that. And it reached a point where she was like, if he knows that this is happening, where I am doing this, then he is not going to do it. Right? And this chances of forgetfulness is that much higher. So she just stopped. She said, I don't care. If it's a week and the trash is piling up, I am not going to do it. I will just not do it.
And then, I think in defense of most, at least the nice guys, right? Let's not go to the really terrible ones, which of course exist. But I think that maybe it's okay. I don't think her partner probably holds it against her that she's taking a chance. He doesn't
Yeah.
bother them. That's what I'm saying.
bother them.
And I think that needs to be
And
the
for
top
her, it would have been
behavior.
more of an effort to not do.
Yeah, exactly. Because she's thinking about, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do that.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do
exactly.
that.
And
he's like past out thinking, whatever. Right? And so I think I feel like I want to learn that behavior. I want to learn to let go. I'm not going to do it.
I feel like an interesting connection that's coming right now is this connection of leisure with control and being okay not being in control and things not being perfect or the way that you want it all
Like
the
a whole
time.
new can of worms.
I know, right? Maybe like a whole different
There
podcast.
is a poem, a very old poem. It's called Dust If You Must. But there are books to read
Yes.
and places to be. And then
Exactly,
and
right?
then dust
you
if you must. And I was just like, oh my god.
You know, when I realized the power of this poetry was during the pandemic. I realized that we fill our day-to-day lives, especially my generation of women. And if you've gone abroad, God forbid, you've lived in the US or whatever, and then or the UK or whatever, and you come back, and you realize you fill your day with nonsense jobs. Why should I go to the grocery store to pick that perfect mango? It's okay. Doesn't have to be done at that particular time on that particular day. Why am I? There are women who say, I love Bartan Manjifying. I'm like, why? Why? What the fuck, right? I mean, why should I do that? So our life is actually full of tiny little chores, which if you didn't have to do,
You would have more time for
you
leisure.
would have time for leisure, for the things that matter, the books to read, the places to go. And it was mind-blowing for me. And I'm starting to again lose that thread, when I kept it in mind for nearly a year and a half after COVID that I will not do it. It doesn't have to be done. And if there is an easier way to do it, like in my
I
family,
like that. If there's an easier way to do it. Then
in my family,
yeah.
the big thing was, why should we use Big Basket? I was one of the earliest adopters of Big Basket in 2014, 2015, right? They were brand new. And my dad, my husband would be like, why are you buying it from Big Basket? It's not fresh. It's not like this. It's not like that. I was working full time. I had 2 young kids. There was commute involved and I was doing this. I was guilted into giving it up for this grocery store that was next door. No, we'll go during the weekend to do this. But that meant on weekends at 9 o'clock, everyone's looking at the clock and saying, घर में कुछ नहीं है, जाते हैं groceries करने के लिए. And then that becomes instead of going for a picnic and hanging out and doing cool stuff, you've blown 2 hours in the stupid grocery store for something that could have been solved differently, right? So yeah, I've sworn I will not do this
We
again.
have to steal time.
Yeah.
Yes, you have
Also,
to
we must
steal
see if
time.
Big Basket or Amazon Fresh or Zepto or
Can
anybody is going to
sponsor us.
sponsor this set of women having a problem with leisure.
Vijay, are you listening?
But yeah, I work on one of these brands, so I know we always try to find these insights into why is it that people even will go for online shopping and online grocery shopping versus offline grocery shopping. And it's very interesting that you bring up the point of grocery shopping because it's such a mundane, everyday thing to do. I cannot tell you, every working woman friend of mine trips about the same thing.
Yes,
She's like, every working woman friend of mine, they're like, it is a mental load and the boys just don't get it.
I have lost years of my life to this task.
In fact, I think in our one large group of friends, there's only one husband who does it proactively, and all the other wives, they're like, they don't get involved, and it's a mental load, and I'll get food done, and then he will not eat, and then we'll Swiggy something, and then this will happen, then I have to take care of the waste food, and then all of that. And it's a repeat thing that I've heard for a while now. And we don't know the solution to it because I don't think either party is right or wrong. You know,
Yeah, I
there
don't
is
think
there
there's
is
right
no
or
right or wrong here because if one party is like, why are you stressing about this? It's cool. And the other party is like, I'm stressing about this because it's a responsibility. But I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how
My
to solve.
theory is that if couples decide ahead of time that they will figure out how to not waste their time on this grocery/food, divorce rates will drop.
Divorce rates for grocery. Yeah, because I really think grocery is an everyday irritant. It's a daily irritant.
Because then you say you're not doing it,
Yeah.
you're not planning it,
Yeah.
you're not,
And
and leisure is gone.
leisure
right?
is gone because you open the fridge and you see sada hua stuff inside and you're like, oh, why am I eating bad food? And then there's also food rotting over here. And
But yeah, mundane chores are the death knell for leisure. Yeah, they're the anti-leisure.
the mundane chores. I've been really trying to get a dishwasher in my house for like the last 5 years, but we're always living in rented spaces and it's hard to figure it out. But I feel like those things really bother me, constantly seeing things piled up. And then you have to, even if you're indulging in leisure, when you go back to like take a glass of water and you can see a pile of vessels and you're like, ew, it just it's like gets to you. So then it's like the only way to enjoy leisure is if you check yourself in at a hotel or at a resort or something. That everything is
Staycation.
pick and span, things are neat and tidy and you don't have to worry
And
about
then again,
it.
it's planned.
So
it's planned
Bloody
leisure.
vicious cycle, I tell you.
I think what we need is like 3 days, take me anywhere. This is the budget. Please, I think this is a business waiting to happen.
This is a business idea for
Yeah,
women.
I don't care. This is what I like, this is what I don't like. Do whatever you want with it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think yes.
So, if you had to do future generation, young about leisure, what would you say?
Oh God. I don't think, give me one line. Nay, I think I have become that annoying adult who can't see the teenage nephews and nieces chilling. Like, what are you wasting your time? I am part of the problem. I am putting generational trauma on them. I'm telling them that you're wasting your time. You need to do something with it. Go enroll for a class. Go do something. Well, I think they're young. They should really enjoy themselves and do other activities. But yeah, I don't know how to stop this generational trauma. Sorry.
All right, here goes Srishti.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like just be able to show that or like spend that leisurely time with somebody, right? Like, I think this idea of like Sundays that kind of sticks is like, agenda-less days. You're watching a movie together. Like, at least that's like my memory of Sundays, that like lunch was like really special. You would end up watching a movie. Like I grew up with my grandparents, so they were like a part of this equation of like just being, right? And like if we're able to do that with like nieces, nephews, kids, I feel like it becomes like moments that you cherish and then want to do more of, instead of being feeling guilty about how productive you are about on a specific day. Um,
I think I would suggest that everyone does the European way of shutting down Sunday. I used to get very upset when I was in Switzerland. 5:30 on Saturday, everything just shuts, and everybody will wake up only on Monday morning at 6 o'clock, right? So basically, you had nothing to do on Sunday. There was no place to go.
What about
And if
Saturday
you wanted to go,
night?
party, yes. You can party. You can call people home. But if you want to buy the booze, figure out buying, the party goods or the alcohol or whatever it is you need by Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock. Because you ain't, otherwise you'll have to like hike to some ridiculous place and do that. But though I resented it initially, because I was going from New York and California, which is 24/7, to that place, I started loving it because it meant Sunday you don't do anything else. You are with family, you are with friends. You choose to spend that time doing nothing with yourself, right? Because everybody is on leave. The grocery workers on leave. The workshop person is on leave. So it's not like you can cram your time with other activities. So you go and you're one with the mountains. You go for a trek. You go for a walk. You just be. And you realize the joy of that after a while, once it becomes part of yourself. And I think that is what I would wish for, especially in India, as I see younger people coming in through the workforce. There's really no shutting down.
Oh, they're always on.
They're always on. And by the time you hit 30, 40, 50, it's exhausting. It's exhausting in the brain. And the overload from digital media and all of that isn't helping matters. So I think it's useful to have that, that one day of shut everything down and then see what happens.
And it's funny that it was part of religion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Observing either a Friday or a Sunday as the holiday for everybody. And it's been part of so many different religions and cultures. Or afternoon siestas, which were part of the European culture, or
It was part of Bangalore culture, by the way.
it was part of Mangalorean culture also, where I'm from. Like coastal culture is like that.
on afternoon napping, I have a really funny leisure story, which is like my idea for retirement. So when I was young, both my grandparents who I would live with were already retired. They would get up at 6 in the morning. My grandfather would go for a walk, come back, have breakfast, take a nap. 10, 11 a.m. he's sleeping, right? He's off for a nap. He gets up, lunch, watches a little bit of TV, takes a nap. Evening, gets up, goes for a walk, has dinner, watches some TV again, and goes to sleep. That was leisure. I think.
Whole day was leisure.
Yeah. Because he didn't have any, like, he worked very hard his entire life, right? Like, he didn't come from a very well-off family and, like, really built and did a lot. And after that, he was just enjoying his retirement.
I love watching people.
And he would spend a lot of time with us. He would
I
spend time
love
with
that.
friends. He would celebrate his birthday twice a year.
That's a man who's figured out what matters in life.
But I don't
And
think
is-
that's sustainable for our generation, because the way they worked, right, that generation, they did not have emails coming in at 11 p.m.
But I think that we can control.
We can control, but I think we can't wait to get retired and then enjoy leisure,
Yeah.
because we are burning out very early. I got burnt out at the age of 32, 33. And now I really have to make sure I don't get burnt out. And so I have to make sure I have leisure like every 7th day, every 7th month, every 7th year, once a year, like 14 days of holidays. I have to ensure that, otherwise I burn out. And so, I mean, I'm very clear that post-retirement, I'll have a fabulous life if I survive, touch wood. But otherwise, I don't think we are the generation that can work hard and retire early, or work hard and retire and then enjoy life, because the rising amount of heart attacks, the kind of air we breathe, the kind of food we eat, the kind of lifestyle we lead, if we don't slow down, we might not even get to that point of where we can actually retire. So we don't have that luxury, and that the whole leisure becomes a serious necessity
Yeah.
for us. And we all have to find our forms of leisure. Like for you, if it is without activity, and for me, if it is with activity. For example, if I'm drawing and I'm listening to music, and I'm not using my brain, I'm just drawing, and it's bringing me pleasure, and it's creating this sort of fireworks in my head when I'm connecting things, and wow, it looks like that. It brings me that pleasure, and I'm done with it, and it brings a lot of joy, and I must allow myself to do that. And even though I might feel that, I could be working at this time, or I could be cleaning that house, this is a realization I've had in this conversation itself, that we can't afford to not have leisure.
Yeah. I think we say that you're passionate about work, you're passionate about something. I think we need to be passionate and fierce about the way that we look at leisure and really
Not
protect that.
leisure.
And if that means there are no notifications on your phone after a certain point of time, or you don't check emails on Sundays or whatever, and even that those first couple of times will take more effort, right? To be like, to hold yourself back and be like, no, I will not go and like check my inbox and whatever. But I think it's something to protect and almost nurture, right? In some shape or form. And how can we do more of that?
Very importantly, not feel guilty the next day when you open your inbox and see the emails and wish, maybe I should not have.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the imp you need to
Yeah.
flick away from the.
I think it's those choices also, no? Like when you hear all these CEO interviews, and you would hear them that, their week starts on Sunday afternoon because they start checking their emails on Sunday afternoon so that they're prepared for Monday. I think then it's a choice that you need to make, that if I want to be CEO level and I want to do, or if I want to be that kind of CEO, then I do that. But I don't want to be that. What I want, I think having that clarity of what kind of life I want. I want a balanced life. I want to enjoy my days. I want to probably work only 4 days a week or 3 days a week. And I think somewhere the younger generation is allowing themselves to do that.
Yeah.
Where they are defining their work hours, they're defining their off hours and stuff, which as millennials, we are struggling to do because we have a
Gen X,
hyper.
we didn't even know it.
Yeah, as Gen X, you all didn't even know it. You all had to like make ends meet and raise your kids and send them to international schools and spend all that
and have
money.
ridiculous things about, we must have one house plus another house and then
Yeah.
do this and then do that. It's just not even a thing to consider,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think knowing what kind of life you want can really help you define how productive and how much leisure time you want in your life. But yeah, it's serious business.
Leisure.
Leisure.
That should be a t-shirt. Leisure is